Hello, my name is Beami, and this is how I got here.
They call the rising sun.
In October 2023, I was hired as a driver. I responded to a Craigslist ad looking for a driver to drive a group of friends to an event in Marble Falls, Texas. I didn't really say much the whole time, but then they get back in the car when I pick them up, and they're buzzing and talking about paintings and child prodigies and Oprah and Jesus and art and all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, like I have to ask, like can I ask, like what did I just drive y'all to? What am I an accomplice in? And they were like, oh, there's this art gallery in Marble Falls which has the art of this girl named Akiana, this painter who was on Oprah when she was a kid, and she painted this image that a lot of people feel like is the true face of Jesus when she was 8 years old, because she had these visions and dreams, and a lot of people who've had like near-death experiences and whatnot have seen her painting and been like, yeah, that's who I was with. And this whole lore of stuff regarding this artist and this painting. And so they were like, it's free, you can go check it out in your own time, you should see it sometime. I was like, all right. So the next day was Sunday, I went back and I drove myself, and I get a tour of the gallery and everything. And at the conclusion of the tour, I sit down on a bench and I just kind of released some tears, and I was coming just on the other side of I was about a year into the comeback of my life, after hitting rock bottom and basically restarting my whole life over and starting from scratch. And yeah, at the time I was basically living in my car, sleeping in a Target parking lot in South Austin, working full time, with my two dogs, trying to just get stability regained. I'm sitting on this bench at the end of the tour, and the tour guide Jason, and then this other woman who was on the tour with me with her husband, from opposite directions of the room, come and sit on each side of me. And they're like, man, we want to learn about you. We felt called to learn about you, and we want to pray for you. And Jason gave me this little tiny plastic cross that I didn't think anything of, and I was grateful and left, and that was that, I thought. But turns out, little did I know, Jason told the whole gallery about me and their media team and whatnot. And so a few days later, they reach out to me and they're like, hey, we want to interview you as a guest of the gallery. We think your story is inspiring and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm an open book. I got nothing to hide. I'm down. I'll do whatever. And then I didn't hear from them at all for like 10 months. And in between that time, I just continued to grind and take it day by day and take small steps every day to better my life and my world for my dogs and for me. So then in a couple months later, in January of 2024, I got the chance to basically move to Puerto Rico and escape my toxic living environments and company, and learn more and do more. And I was there for 4 months, and I learned a lot, and I grew a lot, and I faced all the things that I had taken on from all of my challenges, and it was essential for me. And then in April 2024, I moved back to Texas. The next month, in May, I secured a show that I played, my first show in over 3 years, a music show, and I turned 29. The next month, in June 2024, I was watching The Chosen, a TV show, and I learned about the lead actor's backstory, how he was doing voiceovers for MTV, and trying to find work like anyone else, and how he got the role and what led him to it and all that. And I was watching it and I was like, I should be doing that. As a kid, I always wanted to be an actor. All the experiences I went through have taught me so much about the human mind and heart and soul and life, and I was just like, I should be doing that. And I immediately started pursuing acting. I think like the next day, I saw a Craigslist ad for they were looking for an actor for a music video for a band in town. I went and auditioned for that weekend, got the role immediately, and then we shot that a couple weeks later. Then about a week after, or like that same week, a news article pops up on my phone that The Chosen is looking for extras like 3 hours away. And I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to go be a part of the show. That kind of inspired me to start acting and just, you know, I don't know, hold a clipboard, whatever, I'll do whatever, just to be a part of it and contribute. So I did. I spent a week on set. It was my first time ever on a full-scale TV show set, and it was incredible. I was like, I gotta find out how to make my life where I just get to spend all my time on different sets all over the world and different projects, telling great stories. During that time, I stayed with my sister, who I hadn't really talked to much in years, and I was really grateful to her too for, you know, reconnecting and giving me a place to stay while I was in town. I went back home and I was like, I gotta get out of Texas, and I started looking for opportunities to secure roles up in the Northeast so I can make my way there. By August was my goal. People were like, why don't you go to LA? And I was like, well, in LA, they'll smile at me and want me to be a part of their podcast and grow their business for them and talk, you know, and not give a crap about me. In New York, they'll cuss me out and chew me up and spit me out if they don't like me. I'd rather face that honesty, you know? I'd rather people be real with me. I was able to secure the lead role in a play read at the local theater festival at the Kennedy Center in DC in August. And so I was like, all right, that's my target date. I'm gonna make it there, blah, blah, blah. Everyone said I was crazy, that I needed to stay longer and work more and wait till I was more stable and get a better car, my car wouldn't make it, all this stuff. All that's fair, I understand. But I was like, I have to do this. And it's pretty crazy that the role I got was playing a guy who was an artist and a filmmaker from Puerto Rico whose father had passed away. He was working through the challenging dynamics of his family as a man now from his childhood, and basically reconnecting with his father, who, you know, was no longer with them, through music and art. And there were things in the script that I would not have understood had I not spent 4 months in Puerto Rico. And it felt like I felt like I'd written it. It felt like I wrote an alternate version of myself. And then, yeah, it was wild. And so I was like, I have to do this. I have to try. If I break down in Little Rock, Arkansas, then so be it. I'll start a new life in Little Rock and it'll be better than staying here. If I break down in the middle of nowhere, well, that sounds great. It sounds better than staying here and being stagnant. I'll take it. And an hour into my drive up there, I got a flat tire. I didn't have a spare on the highway. Thankfully, this truck drove and like yelled at me like, yo, your tire's flat. And I was able to get over before it got disastrous. And I was able to change my tire at a discount. I had left with $300 to use on gas just to get there, and that was all I had. And then an hour in, I had to pay $150 to get my new tire. Still didn't have a spare. And then even the tow truck guy was like, you're not gonna make it. And I was like, all right, I have to try. I drove 22 hours in 2 days and made it. And once I got to Maryland, wait, there's a part of this story I forgot. So I secured the role in August. And a few days before I leave Texas to go do this, I get a call from the gallery after 10 months of silence. And they're like, hey, we were curious if you were still down to, you know, do an interview with us. We are sorry, our correspondence somehow filtered to spam, but you came up in conversation again today, and we'd still love to talk to you. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I leave in like less than a week, but I'm down. I have a few days next week. And so the week, like literally a few days before I left, I went to the gallery and we did a whole video shoot interview. Finally get to Maryland. I'm waiting for my Airbnb to be ready. And I'm at a park with my dogs, and I get a call from a guy, and he's like, hey, I'm a national reporter for the Epoch Times, and I'm working on a story about this gallery in Marble Falls, and they told me to contact you to interview you about it. And I was like, cool, yeah, I'm down, let's talk. Did the performance at the Kennedy Center. It went really well. It was very well received. I got a lot of great feedback from a lot of great people. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm supposed to be here. This was all a good call. About a month later, in September 2024, the article comes out, and the group of friends that I had driven a year earlier in Texas, who would live in New York, one of the couples that was there, they read the article and saw my name and saw I was mentioned and remembered me as their driver. So they basically reached out to the gallery and got my contact info and then called me, and they were like, hey, we're going back again this year, but this time we want to drive you. And I was like, sweet, but I'm not in Texas anymore. And they were like, oh, it's all good, you know, we'll bring you with us. And I was like, okay. So went back to Texas for the weekend, to Austin. And while I was there, I ended up recording The Rising Sun, which was another song that I made with my producer friend, Mr. Noe, because we had done Tarzan and Good God also in August, right before I left, like less than a month before I left. And then I left, and we were like, man, you know, we should have been doing this the whole time. So when I was popped in for a weekend, I was like, yo, I have this idea for like a modern take on House of the Rising Sun, I think. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So we did it all in that weekend. So while in between, you know, going to the gala, the event in Marble Falls, I was spending time with him recording that song. So then I get to go to the gala. I got to meet Akiana, the artist. I got to reconnect with all the people at the gallery, and it was a beautiful night. As I was editing this video, I remembered another crazy part of the story that I had left out that I just wanted to come back to because I mentioned it. The tour guide, Jason, the little cross that he gave me, it was given to him the day before by the woman that I had driven there, and I had no idea. And she gives them out to everyone. So I was basically connecting with her and receiving her gifts before we even connected a year later. So I just had to throw that in there. It was surreal. So then they go back to New York, and I go back to Maryland, and they're like, you should come up and join us for Thanksgiving. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that'd be awesome. So I go up for Thanksgiving and meet the whole family. They basically are like, yeah, you're one of us now. Supported me and helped me and been a family to me that I never really had. December, I moved to Queens, and that's where I am now. I've been there since. And on Christmas, I spent Christmas with them and found out that basically behind the scenes they awarded me a scholarship to go to any acting school that I want to get into due to spiritual strength and resilience. That's not a thing. And it's amazing, and it's mind-blowing. And so basically since then, I've been working to get my finances back in order and the rest of everything well enough to know exactly where I want to go and what I want to do regarding that scholarship and how I want to utilize it. But in the meantime, I've been staying busy and working on different sets of different projects. And I just joined a rock band this week, and we had our first rehearsal on Thursday. And then a few days ago, the interview that I did with the gallery last year dropped, kind of telling some of this story. And last month, I went and saw The Chosen in theaters and saw myself on the big screen for the first time. A huge theater screen. Saw it in IMAX too. And I found it just very motivating and encouraging. And I was like, man, this is, step one. This is the first time, and there's more to come. And as I was walking home from seeing it, I was walking back home, and I passed by this building, and they have a stage or something, and I look in the window, and I'm watching the TV screen that they're showing what's going on stage. It's people singing and playing music and stuff, and I was so I was missed being around music so much, and I haven't been around many people or up to that point made many friends since I've been here in New York, and I've actually found it really difficult. And someone walked out, and I realized it's a church, and someone walked out and saw me and was like, hey, you know, come in. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know if it costs money. I thought it was like a concert or something. I was like, I don't know if it costs money or whatever. He's like, no, it's free, it's free. He's like, this is your family now. So I go in, I meet the people, and while I'm there, they get a donation of like fresh fruit, and I help them. I just start helping like set up the tables and unloading the fruit and passing out fruit to the people in the street and stuff. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, I used to be the guy that needed this, that was on the other side needing handouts of food. And now I'm giving it out all of a sudden. And I became friends with those people. It was like a week before Easter. And so one of the leaders asked me, you know, hey, would you be down to play Jesus for our Easter service presentation? I was like, yeah, sure. And so over Easter, I played Jesus in their presentation. And it's funny because when I told people that I got to be an extra on The Chosen, they're like, oh, you should play Jesus. And I'm like, well, the show started years ago, and you know that they've casted that a long time ago, and he does an incredible job, and he deserves it. And I was like, but he kind of laid the blueprint for me, Jonathan Rumi, because it was literally like a week before that they asked me to play Jesus at this church. This woman had asked me to do that for them, and I was watching Jonathan Rumi interview with Tucker Carlson, and he talked about how, you know, not only did he help Dallas Jenkins, the director of The Chosen, on a couple short films before they even launched that were kind of the precursor to the TV series The Chosen, but before that he had helped at this woman's church with her passion plays for Easter, playing Jesus. And then literally that happened. And I was like, you know, this is crazy. And now it's May. Today is May 10th, Saturday. I'm probably releasing this video on Monday, May 12th. And the last 4.5 years, I just felt, you know, way before, back when I was living in Austin in my own apartment, in my own duplex, before all this fell apart and I lost everything, I had strong sense that 2025 was really important for the world and for me personally. But yeah, man, this year has just been something that I've been looking towards for a really long time, and now we're here, now it's here. And throughout this whole thing, I knew that the time to tell this story would come, and here it is. And I just wanted to share. If I can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And I appreciate you being here, and really we just began. This is just the beginning. Everything has just been a process to lead to the start, to the new beginning. Things are ending so that we can begin now. And I'm just really grateful and really blessed, and there's not really words that can adequately express it all. So say hello to Amberoni. Girl, I love you so much. And I'll see you all soon. You know, there's a lot happening. Have a wonderful mid-May 2025. My birthday is on Wednesday, May 14th. I was born on a full moon in Scorpio on Mother's Day, 1995. And Sunday is Mother's Day. Monday is a full moon in Scorpio, and Wednesday is my birthday. So, best birthday ever. See y'all.